Hello, welcome to this video on mortgage schedules. This is for students in Essential Math 40S. We're assuming that you've already worked through lesson 2 on mortgage schedules and seen an overview of how they work. We're going to specifically look at what happens after the first 3 months of payments as time goes on. You should be familiar with what you see on the screen here. We've made in a spreadsheet, which is a computer program to help you do calculations, a version of the mortgage schedule that you see in your booklet. On the right hand side, we've put just a sample question. So we've got a house that costs $170,000. A down payment was made, which is $20,000, and so that means the amount that was borrowed. The mortgage amount is $150,000. The interest rate is 5%, and the mortgage length is 25 years. From lesson 1, you should be able to calculate that the mortgage payment for this house is $873. So we're going to focus on the mortgage schedule on the left-hand side here. We know the unpaid balance at the beginning is the amount that you borrowed from the bank, which is the $150,000. I'm just going to do that again with a dollar sign. And the owner's equity is how much you've paid for the house to date, which is $20,000 right at the beginning. Now the monthly payment is $873. This is going to be true until the term ends. For this course, we don't really worry about when the term ends, so we'll just look at the $873 as being the payment for the full 25 years of the mortgage. To calculate interest, use the formula I equals PRT. So I'm going to just punch that into the computer spreadsheet here. So the unpaid balance is $150,000. I'm using this cell. This is what's going to allow me to automate this process in a second. And that's times the interest rate, which is 5%. So remember, whenever you use a percent in a question, you have to divide it by 100 or move the decimal over to the left twice. So there's 5%. And then I'm going to times it by 1 divided by 12 because we want only 1 month worth of interest. By default, this formula thinks you're talking about years, so we have to force it to be 1 month. That gives me an interest amount in the first month of $625. To get my payment on principal, I simply take my monthly payment and I subtract the interest. The bank is going to keep the interest, and therefore it doesn't apply towards my principal. That means in the first month, I'm only going to have $248 of my payment actually going towards my loan. To get the new unpaid balance, I take my old unpaid balance amount and I subtract my payment on principal, which means I owe the bank, after my first payment, a little bit less money. Not $873 less money, $248 less. And my equity goes up, again, by the $248. So I'm just going to automate that here. We're at a stage now in a spreadsheet where the spreadsheet can do these calculations for us. You'll notice when I was typing the numbers in, I wasn't just typing the number, I was typing a formula to get this to work. So if I select these rows and I fill down to 3 months, we can sort of take a look at what it looks like over the 3 months. And that's as far as you'd ever go in class, simply because to do more months than that is not time effective. It'd take you a long time to do a question that was any longer than that. But you can see what you've already seen in class. Each month my interest is dropping by a little bit of money. That's because every month the amount I owe the bank is dropping. The bank can only charge interest on what I owe them. So when that drops, the interest I pay drops. When the interest that I pay drops, the payment on principal, the amount actually applied towards my loan, increases. It doesn't look very exciting over the first 3 months, but we're going to fill this down for all of the months of this loan to look at the life of the mortgage. So we're going to want to look at 300 payments. So I'm going to fill down some of these rows. This will just take me a second here. I'm filling the number of payments. I want to go over 300. We're going to assume the monthly payment stays the same for every month. This isn't realistic in real life, as your term will be shorter than the life of your mortgage, and at the end of the term, your interest rate is probably going to change for better or for worse. But for this course, just to keep things simplistic, we're going to keep the monthly payment the same. And then we're going to fill down these rows that have the formulas in them for all those payments. We fill and fill. You can see that doing this by hand would not be realistic or any fun for that matter. Okay, so let's take a quick look at what's happening here. My monthly payment stays the same. My interest is dropping and dropping and dropping every month, whereas the amount of my payment that goes towards principal is increasing and increasing and increasing. That means my unpaid balance, what I still owe the bank, is dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping. And the owner's equity is going up and up and up and up and up as we scroll down. Okay, 150 payments is our halfway point of the mortgage. You can see at the halfway point, we still owe the bank. Where's my 150 payments? We still owe the bank more than we own. But what happens is, as you scroll down, this column is your interest. Look at what's happening near the end of the mortgage. Your interest is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking till it's almost nothing. And the amount of your payment going towards your mortgage is becoming closer and closer to the full payment. As you get down to the final months of your mortgage, you see that the interest drops to almost zero, and almost your whole payment is going towards your mortgage. So then at the very end, once everything's said and done, and this took 303 payments, again, just because there's a small glitch with the numbers in the table we use in the course, but when you get down to the very end here, finally, you've paid the bank all the money you owe them, and your equity would be $170,000. You would own your own house. And the hope is that in 25 years, your house would be worth more than the $170,000 that you paid for it. So not only do you have a large asset that you've paid for, but hopefully it's gone up in value and makes you even more money than that. I hope this helps give you an idea of what's happening over time with the mortgage spreadsheet, and thanks for watching the video.